You go die, make them bury you. Born you again in them old evil land. You won't go die, make them bury you. Born you again, for them evil land. You won't go die, make them bury you.
Hi, and welcome to Connecting the Dots. I'm your hostess, Sandra Izsadore. I will be having a conversation with Dr. Reginald Clark. Reggie.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so let me see, where were we? I had written down, what did I say, connectivity or something?
We're talking about the way in which the government, these shot callers, these rich people are telling the government what to do and what direction to go when it comes to distribution of resources.
Right, which goes back to what I was saying about America being a corporation.
Yep, yep, yep. Well, it's definitely pro-corporation. I know that. And it is a corporation in many respects. Although it would claim that, what's the word they use? That it's a not federation, but
It's a
a
federal
republic. They call themselves a republic.
Yeah, but wait a minute. Now, mentioning our Federal Reserve,
Yes.
didn't Donald Trump close the Federal Reserve, if I'm not mistaken?
No.
What did he do with our Federal Reserve here?
He started calling them out and telling them what they should be doing to help the people.
Well,
More
didn't
so
he
than,
shut them down?
no, you can't shut the Federal Reserve down. They're
One
not the
moment.
government, and not like that. Nope. He did not shut them down. What he did, though, I'll tell you what he did do that was odious. He shut down. Let me find the name of this organization. There was a government.
And he was with the Federal Reserve?
No, there's a government program or office called the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau.
Okay.
And their job was to protect the interests of the consumer. For example, let's say that the consumers found out that they were getting cars that were bad.
I think I dealt with them, but they don't really help the people. They
well,
don't.
This is because Trump shut them down. See, and he shut them down by putting somebody in there that basically said, ain't nothing coming through here that's helping the people.
Anyway, he merged.
I see something here. Did the Fed just merge with the Treasury?
Okay, yes.
And it's a question. And this had to do with the COVID-19 pandemic thing.
It was during that time period or was it before that he did this?
Well, this particular article is the Fed merging with the Treasury.
Well, I know this happened under Donald Trump.
Yep.
Yeah, he merged it. He merged the two together.
Well, I have to look into that. What I'm seeing here makes it sound like and I'll just read one sentence. Once the dust settles, the Federal Reserve, will end up owning 2/3 of the Treasury market, given the rate at which it is buying securities in the market. So I think that's really how they're linking, how they're being linked together, that the Fed is buying these treasuries. And now Richard Wolff actually talks about this too. Basically, and let's see, how does he explain it? That the Treasury will buy, will give companies some Treasury notes.
Okay.
Right? And the companies can take those Treasury notes to the Federal Reserve, and the Federal Reserve basically will take those company notes, which the government gave to them as in exchange for loans that the companies gave to the government.
Okay.
And once the companies give that note to the to the Federal Reserve, the Federal Reserve basically compensates them by putting free money on their books.
Well, you know what? That's the vicious cycle that's been going on.
It's something like that. You know, excuse me, Sandra, let me just give you a reference for that. Richard Wolff talks about that specific thing in terms of his, what he calls the monetary policy and the fiscal policy of the government in a 7-minute video, which I believe I sent to you. I'll resend it.
Okay, I've written it down, so I'm gonna look into that.
Yes,
but I'm just trying to connect the dots in the overstanding.
Yes, I mean it's exactly, and I am too. Actually, it's not so much merging with, in as much as they're doing business together some kind of way.
But while they're doing business together, they are eliminating mainstream.
There they are. Yeah, they are. Except for, except for to the degree that they might give you a $1,200 check.
Wait. So, but when that $1,200 check plays out,
right?
I mean, how are they? This game is serious, and you know,
it is serious.
People now, I'm like a crow sitting on the fence. Okay, that would be you and I. We two crows sitting on the fence looking at this.
Yeah,
you know, because like it says, you know, and I'm all down with prophecy. I look at prophecy, scientific data, and reality of what's going on, and I make up my own story. You know?
Yes.
But you know, this is serious, Reggie. People don't realize how serious this thing is.
Well, and see, and this gets at, you know, you made a comment earlier about optimistic side and the pessimistic side, and I'll be honest with you, you know, I'm more leaning toward the realistic side, which for me bends toward pessimism.
I was getting ready to say, I'm with you on the realism side, and right now realism is very pessimistic.
It is, because people are too easily influenced, duped, indoctrinated.
Shackles on their mind.
Exactly. Like Malcolm said in the 60s. What was it he said? You've been had, you've been took, you've been hoodwinked, bamboozled, run amok, led astray. Right?
It's still happening. And guess what?
And scientist Carl Sagan said, and I'm quoting, one of the saddest lessons of history is this: if we've been bamboozled long enough, we tend to reject any evidence of the bamboozle. We're no longer interested in finding out the truth. The bamboozle has captured us. It's simply too painful to acknowledge, even to ourselves, that we've been taken. Once you give a charlatan power over you, you almost never get it back.
Wait. But see, right now, everybody think they know. Everybody think they know. And I'm looking now, this is me. This is how I connect my dots. I'm looking at the prophecy. And basically what the prophecy tells me, there's going to be a great number headed in the wrong direction.
Hey, I'm telling you, you know, you said the right word, great, almost like a humongous number. The people headed in the right direction are going to be tiny.
Thank you, you know, and I can't do anything but shake. And when you try to wake somebody's consciousness up,
the only thing that's going to wake them up is when they wake up and realize that they're in chains.
When they're drowning.
Exactly. Which white folks are starting to actually feel in comparison.
They're feeling it.
Exactly, in comparison to their history. right? We've always
Ooh.
felt, like we were slaves anyway, I think. So that's why we don't react that same way. We would never run up on the Capitol because we're not yoked that way, you
No,
know.
you know what? No, because we've been taking it. We've been
Exactly.
taking it for over 400 years. Another one of
Exactly.
my songs.
Exactly.
I mean, folks better try to listen what I be saying when I be singing, because I be trying to tell y'all to
You
wake
you
up.
you lay it out there accurately, and the information. And thank goodness for messages such as yours and media that enables those messages to get to people. But because of the fact that mainstream media dominates the thought processes, I have this one meme that says, it's 6 o'clock. Here's what we want you to think, and it's got one of the broadcasters pictures up there, whether it's what's the CIA guy's name on CNN,
I
uh,
don't know. I'm gonna
uh,
tell you, it's all of Anderson Cooper,
Anderson Cooper. That's the one, Anderson Cooper. uh, but the
Gloria
CIA,
Gloria Vanderbilt's
is knee
son.
deep in the whole mainstream media. There's nothing that they don't control in managing that. So they're putting out the scripts and the narratives that they want to pursue, and they've gotten social media to join them now.
Oh no, but wait now. You better not come up here and say anything we don't like.
Right.
Because if you say something we don't like, we're gonna just shut you up.
Well, that's what they're attempting to do. They're
Oh,
making
yeah,
it
they're
more and
doing
more,
it.
and they're doing it in various ways. I just posted a picture on my page as we as during the break about showing our version of democracy now. It's a picture from yesterday in Washington D.C. and you'll see it. It's and the caption is, "We finally got rid of fascism." As if Trump was fascist, but the picture shows a zillion soldiers.
Okay. But wait a minute, but is that not the truth?
Indeed, it is the truth.
Is
You
that not
know,
what your eyes are seeing today?
oh, it's deep, but people still don't get it. I mean, from what I'm seeing on social media, people are still hopeful. Oh, Biden is going to do this. Biden is going to do that. But see, this is they don't get it.
Excuse me, Biden is going to do exactly what those above him tell him to
Tell him
do.
to do. Correct.
Now,
Correct.
according to the prophecy,
Correct.
let
Well,
me throw some prophecy in
yes,
here.
please. Okay, according to the prophecy.
I hope that we're going to hit that period. There's a period that's going to come where Satan is going to be here, right? Or this demonic force is going to be here. Or this entity of negativity is going to be here. Take it whichever scenario you want to use, but don't take it literally. There's an entity, I should say, that will be here. And right now there's a war going on between two entities. A good entity and a very dark, evil entity. And the two entities are battling. So far, my belief is, and what has been shown to me, what they have displayed to me with my own eye vision, when I've seen what they've displayed, it lets me know there's some truth to this story about the dark side, about what do they call it? The Georgia Guidestones. The Georgia Guidestones dictate how many people need to be on the planet. And if you get more than that, you got too many, so you need to start eliminating. Not only that, this is another dot that I connect. All of a sudden, this man, Bill Gates, the bloodline, they're all connected. Research it. They're all related and connected in some way. All of a sudden, this man now is doing from um, Microsoft, he's now into medicine. And they have developed with the government. Well, I don't know. I know DARPA is with the government, and that's crypto tracking. He owns the patent on it. Then the other part of it, all of a sudden, everybody's being pushed for the vaccine. If you watch what evening media is doing right now, they're pushing vaccine.
Right.
It's programmed. That's in coronavirus.
Right. That's one of the
But they're
narratives.
pushing the narrative. You know, you can go back to last year and you can see the narrative, how they're playing.
Well, now, interestingly, if I may just interject just a second, just this morning, I was listening to some of these folk talk about this vaccine thing, and I learned two things that I didn't really know before. Number one, the people who get the vaccine, there is no scientific proof at this point in time that they cannot transmit the virus to others, even with the vaccine. That's number one. And number two, you can, that less than 50% of the COVID tests done, if you're asymptomatic, less than 50% of those tests are accurate. So I'll just throw that out there. And this is what the scientists are saying.
Yeah, well, this has been from day one.
Yep.
And over there in Africa, oh, my brothers and sisters, you know, like I said, my heart bleeds for Africa because I'm African. These are my people, you know?
Sure, absolutely.
But they don't see it. They don't see it like that. I'm gonna tell you, they don't see it like that. That was so, you know, boy, if Africa
a number
is
has been
anything
done
like
on us
Nigeria,
mentally. I mean, the indoctrination has worked. I mean, anytime you get some type of entity feeding you information of one sort or another 24/7, and it happens to be an authority figure, that is somebody you respect, you know, a government official, a politician, a teacher, or whatever, you know, the research shows that in a large group, in a large population, over half the people accept the information just because it came from an authority figure. So right off the bat, they have an advantage. This is why, like now, they're trying to inculcate people to think of Biden as a good person, when in actuality, he's the exact opposite of a good person.
Let me tell you something. Mention it, Brother Biden. Okay. I wanted to know, this man, as far as I'm concerned, what Biden did to me personally, it was like he spat in my face. He told me how he loved little kids jumping on his lap. As a Black girl, I was taught in a home.
Yeah, he's a deviant.
That is not something that you allow an adult man to do. As a child, a good parent teaches her child or her son that.
Right, yeah, no, he has something wrong with him. I mean, he was feeling in people's hair and smelling in their air and all kinds of, just weirdo type behaviors with kids and with adults.
Wait, touching, but then this part. Just look at them. They're like little cockroaches. And these are all Black children. They're like little cockroaches.
Yes. So he said some interesting things.
Wait now, and this one. You ain't Black.
Right. If you don't vote for me, you ain't Black. Yeah,
but then wait a minute. This was the same man that was good buddies with the Grand Wizard.
Right, I know.
Spoke
There was a
highly of him.
video, there was a video of him saying those things and much more
And
on YouTube, and they took it down because for quote unquote violating hate speech laws. I mean, it was so hateful. They didn't even allow it to stay on YouTube.
okay, now this is what I know about Biden. What I know about Trump, number one, I never heard him say those type of things.
No,
I
no.
never heard him say those type of things about Black people. And I know that the Black kids loved him, you know, and even Nene Leakes was talking about how she had some Trump money.
Right.
I mean, I didn't really like Donald Trump because I thought he was arrogant, but I didn't know what kind of person this man was. And I know he had a television show called The Apprentice. And what's that girl's name, that Negro girl, what's her name? Oh, Omarosa.
Omarosa?
Oh, yeah. You know, and the whole world hated Omarosa.
Right,
you know?
right.
But
But
anyway.
she worked for him for a while, didn't she, in the first
Yes,
year?
she worked for him. Omarosa was, what you call it, she's Jamaican. She's a Jamaican.
Is she Jamaican? I didn't know.
Yeah, she's of Jamaican descent. But anyway, I didn't particularly care for Omarosa either. But guess what? Now that I know the backstory and not that old mainstream, lamestream media story, the one that they done made up and gave to everybody because they want them to think a certain kind of way. I like Donald Trump. I mean, I don't like everything about him. Yeah, he's rude. He may be a racist, you know. I don't really, if he is a racist, I don't really give a shit. Because
right. It's not really about, it's about how, what does he do for me? Because the reality is, you know, most of the people, white people we come into probably got some racism in them. You know, it's not.
Wait a minute.
Let's
back that up. That's an equal playing field. But you know, they had, some of the folks was mad because, I mean, these are the things I know about him. They were mad because he didn't want to rent to Black folks. Well, shit. It's some white folks and some Black folks I don't want to rent
to. Exactly.
Okay, no. That's a human nature.
Well, you know, it's easy to trigger Black people with allegations of racism. We are such a primitive lot in those ways, I believe. You know, we don't investigate anything. You know, we just go with it. Oh, he's a racist, even though he put more dollars in Black pockets than Biden and Obama ever did.
Okay, would you call me racist because I believe in separate and equal? Separate.
No.
What I see with Donald Trump is separate and equal.
Right.
But we haven't quite reached the equality part.
Well, here's my issue, Sandra, with all of these folks, including Donald Trump. I agree with you, and I really resented the way that they went after him with such manipulative.
Oh, you mean the media?
The media and the politicians and all of that. You know,
they castrated him publicly.
Yeah, they tried to. You know, but he's a strong man, and he's gonna, you know, and this too shall pass, I believe. But that said, for now, they got him out, which is what their main goal was for now. Now they're gonna try to see what they can do to make sure he doesn't run again. I don't know how successful that'll be, but we'll find out. But here's my thing. You know what?
I'm gonna tell you what I've seen. Donald Trump does not have the best personality. He don't know how to talk to people. He's arrogant. And, you know, I don't hate him. You know, it's like he doesn't speak bad against people.
Right. Well, he not unless they speak bad against him. You know, right. I mean, he had me cracking up. You know, sometimes, you know, the reporter would come at him sideways with some negativity. You know, and he would come out with some zingers. I mean, I thought the dude had some brother in him. You know, he'd come out and say something like, "You don't have the brains you was born with."
You know,
he would make comments that were, you know, that were like right on target, and the people would get mad. They wouldn't even be able to respond. But here's my thing about that, Sandra. You know, I don't like to get caught up in this whole thing of of who's better, Trump or Biden or whoever, because at the end of the day, frankly,
it's not who's better. It's not who's better. I mean, just how about being truthful about it, putting the truth on the table? Who did what?
exactly.
How about you
Exactly.
know?
And when we do that, but see, here's my thing. At the end of the day, when we fully do that, I can't get behind any of them, including Trump. Why? Because number one, and this is kind of the elephant in the room that we don't talk about.
Okay.
But just like his predecessors, Trump is a murderer.
Oh, I didn't know that part.
Trump is a murderer. He's a serial killer.
Trump.
Trump
Okay,
Trump decided, unlike Obama, who decided to tell us all the drones that he had dropped and how many people got killed this week, etc. Trump made a rule early on that they weren't going to report that. Nonetheless, there is information out there about the fact that those bombs didn't stop when Obama left office. And the kids didn't stop getting killed, and the little old ladies and the families didn't stop getting destroyed when Obama left office. Trump has maintained the war machine of this country, and that insult to injury, continued like his predecessors to give the military more money than they even asked for.
You mean in he was still bombing Afghanistan?
He did some bombing in Afghanistan early on.
Where was he bombing?
But Yemen, there's a number of places. I have to get that whole.
They don't even talk. The evening news does not talk about.
They don't
Yemen.
talk about it. They don't talk about it.
About Yemen.
But see, I know this is going on. I got some articles on it actually, and that I pulled out, and basically there's still thousands and thousands of people who are considered to be non-combatants, like just regular citizens going about their business, who have been obliterated because of US policies which he had supported. So in that sense, he is an accomplice to the murder machine. And so as a result, and this is why I tell people, I don't think I'll ever be able to support another mainstream presidential candidate in this country, because I refuse to give any kind of succor or support to murderers. Okay, so that's me. All right. So, and Trump is that, but we don't see that part because he cleverly kept it out of our sight. Now, moving on from that, because Trump did some other things that were kind of foul. For example, when he did his tax cuts to wealthy corporations, that dramatically expanded the wealth gap. So while on the one hand, he's talking about, well, I'm going to help, close the wealth gap and give people a few more dollars and create a few more jobs, which, by the way, as you know, were low-paid jobs mostly. He gave all of this money to wealthy corporations through these deep tax cuts. Another thing that he did is deregulate all the major industries so that the corporations could squeeze every dollar of profit out that they possibly could by deregulating, even when those regulations were designed to protect the workers from harm. So he did that. And then he did things like I mentioned earlier. He defunded and neutered important government agencies such as the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, which was not any, great shakes per se, but it was there to give light to instances where large numbers of citizens were being harmed by a policy. He cut that off so that we don't even know, people didn't even have a voice in that anymore. And finally, he did, do some scapegoating. Let's face it. I mean, he did kind of present his argument about the boogeyman, immigrants and so on, in such a way that it didn't come across in the most effective way. I'll put it that way.
Okay,
Uh,
well, let me ask you, being that you mentioned the immigration situation, um, you know, I worked in social services, and I've seen some parts of social services, not all parts of social services, but I'm talking about the legal immigrants that are here in this country and the low income housing. I'm talking about what I have seen, what I've worked with, and what I know. And when it comes to housing and the legal immigrant, they have the best low income housing.
no, and I have no doubt, and my point is not about what they're getting from this government or not getting from this government. That's not my point about the legal immigrants, or even the illegal immigrants. My point is
I want to
simply,
talk about that because that takes money too.
well, it does, and you and
And
and, and
I
you
I
certainly
want to bring
and
up this.
yeah, exactly. But here's my point about Trump, and I want to hear what you're saying about this, because I believe, I know that you're right, that they're taking from the system. However, and many of them are given to the system through taxation. But that said, the only point I'm making with that is that when you talk about, because see, remember, Clinton, Bush, Obama had all talked about immigrants too, but you didn't
They
hear
put the
the
laws in
furor.
place. They're the ones, the Democrats put the
Exactly,
laws in
exactly.
place.
But why didn't you? But you didn't hear the furor, and part of it was, I think, in presentation. Okay,
Mm.
you didn't hear them saying that, talking in ways like, well, they coming over here as rapists and murderers, blah blah blah. Now,
No, they
even
didn't
though a
talk
few
about it.
do,
They didn't talk about it at all. They were just doing it.
exactly,
They were
exactly.
doing it undercover. Can you come to me?
Exactly, but what it tended to do, intentionally or unintentionally, was create factions where you had the fearful working class people in the U.S. versus the boogeyman from these other countries, presenting it in such a way that it came off in a way that I think was unintended on his part, to be honest with you. But um,
Well, see,
nevertheless, it became like a albatross around his neck that they
yeah,
could
but
use.
he didn't know how to handle it.
Exactly,
He didn't know
exactly.
how to handle it. He
Yep,
doesn't have class. He doesn't have finesse. He's bully. So
yep.
he
And he
went
and he
in
does,
with
and he's not a politician, so
he
he
went
doesn't know
in
how to
with
say things without saying things.
he went in with his bully way. Hey, this
Right,
ain't right, and I want your asses out of
right.
here.
Exactly, exactly.
That I mean he was just expressing himself, but most people found that offensive, and
Correct.
the news media took it, twisted it, and made it oh, he's a racist. But see, here's the thing. Um Now that he's gone and everything is going to be kumbaya, I hope it is. Um
No,
with
it's
the
not.
Wait a minute. Well, let's see. I'm just being, I like to be truthful. I like to be fair. And right now I'm being in the middle. I'm being equal to both sides.
Sure.
There's a new wave coming. Now, the wave that's already here, that's afraid, that are doing jobs, and I'm seeing Americans. I'm seeing white Americans, I'm seeing Black Americans, I'm seeing brown Americans, yellow, and red Americans. Those are the ones who are occupying the streets.
Okay.
The newbies, the ones that's been here 5, 6 years, and even some less time than that, they're the ones who are getting into the low income housing in Beverly Hills,
Okay.
the penthouse in the Palisades,
Okay.
or the
The
home
rent controlled areas of Santa Monica, maybe.
from West Hollywood, oh, Los Feliz, you name it, all around.
Okay. All right.
And
Okay.
and and they are immigrants from another
I
nation.
hear you.
And
I hear you.
they are not black.
Right? I hear you on that.
And and
And
guess who's taking care of them?
the taxpayers.
Thank you. And those taxpayers that are on the street that have paid into the system to keep it going, they can't get the benefits that the other ones are receiving.
Indeed. And see, and part of that too, to me, is like, the consequence of decisions that those that paid into the system have made about how they use their political power. I mean, there was so much support for Obama, even as he took away 56% of Black wealth. There was so much support by Blacks of him that it just blew my mind. And to this day, you still find huge percentages of Blacks that I know who are like happy that he was there, despite the fact that they lost more of their net worth, their net wealth under him than at any point since the 1890s. Okay, so when I see these kinds of things, and then you look at some of these other groups who are getting some of these resources, you have to ask the question, well, what part are you contributing to that? I mean, that's what I think. I mean, we can blame the groups and, all of that, but then that takes attention away from who's really making this stuff happen in the first place. And again, it goes back to the corporations and to the politicians. And those corporations want those people here because they can pay them under the table and again, find ways to increase their profits by hiring them. Plus, the reality, Sandra, and I hate to say this, but I verified it with a number of sources. A lot of times, you try to get us to take these jobs and do right with them, and it's almost like we don't know what to do with them. It's like
We can't live off of those jobs. I mean, it's how many people can live off of $15 an hour?
no. Well, I get it, but at the same time, if you start in at $15 an hour, can you show up to work on time every day?
Well, yeah. If you really want a job,
Exactly.
if you really want a job, if you got a job and it's paying you $15 an hour, you'll show up.
Correct. Because I tell you what, I got people who I hire to do different odds and ends around my home, for example, who I end up paying that much or more, a little more, for doing those services, and they seem to be on it, but it's hard to find, but guess what racial backgrounds they are?
I already know. You don't even have to tell me. They're Latino.
Exactly. And so, or white. And so,
usually
what I'm saying is that we all are complicit in this picture. That's my main point. We and ultimately that's what makes it complex, because yes, white supremacy is real and it should be complained about and something done about. But ultimately, and here's something that I want to just throw out there, and maybe we can have another conversation at another time, because I know that we probably both have to sign off here shortly. But I do want to just suggest that the changes that are going to be necessary are going to be what Richard Wolff calls basic structural changes in the power relationships of workers, parents, and families. And specifically, we need to democratize the workplace by giving workers more say-so about their wages.
I agree.
We need to democratize the public schools by giving parents more choice in which schools their children attend.
Mm-hmm.
We need to democratize the healthcare industry by implementing a not-for-profit government-run system that enables everybody to have access to all the healthcare they need without going broke.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to democratize the banks and financial institutions so that they don't worsen inequality. For example, there was a story recently about the fact that Latinos and Blacks pay over twice as much in bank fees
Yeah.
than anybody else. You know, and of course, mortgages and all of that, you know, you go down the line, we get the short end of the stick. So
All the time.
so those are some of the areas that on a practical level that we need to democratize. And if we can't figure out ways to do that, we're going to sink further down the drain.
Reggie, would you please, what you just said about all the things we need to do, democratize, could you type those out for me and sign it? Because that's, to me, a plan.
Sure.
That's
I'll be happy to do that. I'm gonna cut and paste it and enlarge it, and I'll send it to you shortly.
Oh, thank you so much for your time, Reggie, here connecting the dots.
Thank you.
I really appreciate speaking with you. I get excited, you know, because
Yes, likewise.
I like learning.
And so do I.
Yeah, I like learning. All right, well, you have a great day.
Thank you, Sandra. You too. Be safe.